the service of ire.
Welcome back. It's time for our second best of 3. We just saw Maru lay the smackdown with nuclear warfare that may be outlawed in the future with the Geneva Convention. I'm not so sure.
Yeah, maybe. If you have 29 ghosts, that looks a little bit suspicious to me. I think the United Nations have to have a close look at that.
Yeah, I think that we may have to have a talk. We get the Esports Federation in on this.
Yeah. Right now, on the other hand, well, here you have it again. Maru advances to Codes. Congratulations once again. Well done. JYP not so lucky today.
He will have to face the up and down, so if you're a JYP fan, don't fret too much. It's going to be tough for him to get in, but he still has a chance.
Yeah, next week.
Yeah, next week is when all the groups of death are formed, and we actually watch these players try to kill each other so they can scramble for that Codes spot.
But now we have a second match coming up. Another best of 3, 2 players. They want to get in Codes, and it's going to be Mini and Curious.
Yep, Mini looking pretty good in his first 2 rounds, and Curious obviously someone who's really well known. He's known for getting into Codes and then falling into Code.
This is a little bit the cycle that he always seems to go through. Mini was able to take out Naniwa in round 1, and in the second round he actually defeated Flash.
Yes.
We haven't seen him against Zerg yet though, so we don't really know how strong he is. Curious on the other hand, the matchup against Protoss is his weakest matchup. He is still in a position where he was able to give a lot of good Protoss players a run for their money, especially at WCS Asia. He defeated Creator. But, for example, his own teammate, Parting, seems to be a bit his nemesis. Every single time he faces Parting, he's losing.
And one thing to note about Curious's play in this matchup specifically is it really seems like he has some of the best late game management. He's not afraid to just play safe, make spores and spines and slow push across the map. He's a tough guy in the late game.
He plays it smart. He doesn't take any risks that he doesn't have to take. Spines and spore crawlers in the late game, and he knows that is a very economical and of course about the position. And he uses all those structures and uses them as part of his army, which is really smart. Mini will have to find something against it. We might see him play aggressive here. We haven't seen any games against Zerg from this guy.
Yeah, he has, he's really not showing us too much at all, in fact. Looking really good, though, taking his first 2 wins. He wants to be the second Kestrel player to actually go from Code B to Code S. As so far, we've only had 1. Will Curious be able to stop him, though? He is a big GSL veteran, playing against one of the quote-unquote elephants here. And Curious looks like he got his hair trimmed up a little bit. Doesn't look as dangerous as usual, but still looks kind of cold and emotionless.
Actually, I think that Mini is more the cold, emotional player.
He's got that
really
switch,
intense.
you know? See that?
Yeah. I really like this jacket though. I want one. I love blue.
Yeah, it's a good color for you. STX with a lot of different team jackets.
Well, the game is about to start, guys. We have a Bristol City as map number 1, as you can see on screen, for Zerg versus Protoss. I'm mixing up the races today. I want to see them all. I want to have a 1 versus 1 versus 1. Not gonna happen, so let's jump into game number 1 between Curious and Mini. Here we go, GSL Code A. This is the 3rd round. After defeating Naniwa and Flash, he is up against Zerg. He had to face every single matchup. If he makes his way into Codes, this would be a huge achievement for him. We'll find out. He is.
STX Soul Mini.
Make no mistake, he's not Soul Mini. Team name is STX Soul.
That's what she said. To the left side of the map, we have his opponent. Starting for Startail. It is our Zerg who calls himself
Startail Curious.
That's what she said. Trimming the hair? Getting rid of those bangs?
He didn't trim anything. You're imagining things.
No, I think he trimmed it just slightly.
On the other hand, I have to admit you are the hair expert here for obvious reasons.
Well, yeah.
Wolf looks to the side, looks at my hat, is like thinking about it for a second, and then yeah, I guess you're right.
I wonder about Caldor with facial hair, like a goatee or something.
What?
you know, maybe handlebars as well. I'd like to see it. I would love to see it. I haven't experienced this yet.
And you probably know I will.
That's true.
Yeah.
Maybe if we make some sort of bet in the future. By the way, the probe is still occupying the ramp, making a political statement with Automaton 2000.
Automaton 2000 is just watching that pylon. For a second, it really looked like it was out of position, that he could still drop the hatch, but I guess it's just in range.
Yeah, just barely on the edge of that rim. This map is kind of cool that it has the little circle so you can see exactly where the base should be placed.
Yeah.
In general, Protoss players not really happy with this map. It is a pretty tough map for them. If the drone is not pulled, he actually would lose it.
Yeah, the big problem on this map is the third base. It's really exposed, and also there is a lot of this area with the high grounds, low grounds. You have that space behind your bases, so mutalisks are strong on this map. There's a lot that a Zerg can do. Against Terran, you face drop play, which is always a bit scary, and against Zerg, you have multi-prong angles of attack for the Zerg player that he can use to make sure that you're out of position. You are always in danger that the Zerg is going to use mutalisks getting your base. And right now we see something by Curious that I certainly didn't expect. The first 4 Lings are not trying to take down the pylon. No, he's actually headed straight towards his opponent's base.
Yeah. Really wants to put that pressure on.
Yeah. I like it.
Slowed down by the probe a little bit, and I think that it's not going to work out for him. But it's scary. It forces the extra pound in place here.
He might be able to force the cancel on the pylon that is building. No.
Well, he's going to cancel it regardless, but he can't get inside.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah. To force the cancel and then run inside, but it didn't really work out with the timing. I mean, he played this well, and we already talked about it, that Abyssal City is, if you just look on the distance between the two maps, if you actually have to run with units towards your opponent's base, it's so huge, even an early pool can be easily thwarted by a few buildings and a wall.
Oh, this probe on the wrong side of the line of sight blocker. Woke up on the wrong side of the bed.
Yeah.
And he's gonna, yeah. I was gonna say, if he makes any sort of slight adjustment to his movement, he'll die. That happened. Cybernetics core now finished, and he will have to make a choice. Does he want +1 right away? And I think he will. The Lings are trying to check for that. He hasn't started. He will in a moment if he doesn't want Stargate. And it looks like he may actually go Stargate. He's got the pylon in his main.
The thing about a Stargate is that you can go for the warp in on the high ground if you position a pylon at the main base of your opponent. This is what you kind of want to do to put on pressure. And it is actually what Mini does. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how Curious is going to deal with this. For Mini, the question is, does he attack the main base and try to establish a pylon on the low ground? Or will he try to attack the third base, because the distance between the natural and the third is so huge and it's hard for the Zerg player to connect the both of them with creep?
Oh, that's going to be the question. Now, will he go for one of those aggressive warp-ins using the high ground like you said, or will he rather try to hide and go for a Phoenix play? Oh, look at the micro here by Curious. He didn't lose a single link there.
It was brilliant circling micro. It was really excellent. He didn't lose anything at all, as just highlighted by our observer here. So I really love this attack just in general, the +1 attack timing. I love it when you combine it. And we have Phoenixes. No Void Rays, but Phoenixes. And I'm interested to see if he waits before he attacks. He certainly should, but the position of the Stargate itself actually indicates that he wants to show what's going on. I know he waits.
He waits. I think perhaps he would have changed things up if the Stargate had been seen, but since he knows it has not, he's going to wait, and this is really scary. Pretty much only MC is doing this build right now, it feels like. Pretty much everyone else has been going for robotics, especially on this map.
Yeah, and the thing about MC's style is that even though he's the one who sticks with it, it doesn't seem that successful these days.
Yeah.
You could see that yesterday when he was playing against DRG and the OSL. The last map, for example, comes to mind.
Yeah, that was definitely a failure for him.
Oh, wow, this Overlord just not able to spot the Stargate. Brilliant here for Mini. Yeah, Mini.
Yeah, for Curious, his placement is not quite ideal. He already has the spores.
Yeah, he has the spores.
He's just playing it safe. He doesn't know what he's facing. And the Overlord will go down. He's trying to poke with the Lings as well. Too good of a defense setup, though, by Mini.
Oh, wow.
He's waiting for 5.
That's very interesting. Every single Protoss player is moving out with 4. The reason is simple. With 4, you can kill a queen in 1 lift. You have to lift it and then attack with the other 3. So him waiting for 5 is actually a bit different. It really shows that he wants to surprise his opponent and use this this element of surprise to his advantage.
Yep, and there are only 3 queens on the map. He will kill all 3. There's no way, even if there were like 2 sport callers guarding each queen, he would still be able to kill them all. And he's going to grab the first one. 4 spores being started immediately. He needs to grab it again. He was actually targeting the Overlord with some of those. And he's got to hit it there. That was weird.
He can take down the Overlord too, but doesn't.
He wants to get the queens, I suppose, but he needs to go right away.
Let's see if Curious guards them well. A lot of Zerg players will not move the queens to the Spore Crawlers and then use them regardless of defenses, but not so Curious. No, he is paying attention. I really like it.
I'm a little bit surprised he didn't decide to commit there. You know, I guess he took a lot of damage from his first wave of Phoenixes. He doesn't want to. The thing is, even as soon as the first queen dies, he starts 3 more. So even if he kills this queen in the main, he's not going to be able to do too much damage to Larva and Jax, for example, because the queens are already going to be back out. But the follow-up here is going to be quite scary with the Colossi. He's getting +2 out as well.
And for Curious, this is awesome because the big deal is that, yes, Curious had to sacrifice a few drones and he had to build Spore Crawlers, but he did not suffer a lot of damage. I think an Overlord died, maybe 2, and a Queen. That's all there is to it. So these Phoenixes have to be very, very careful. Mini has invested a lot of resources. They did not really pay off yet.
Yeah. You know, I thought he was really going to commit to the queens, but he simply went in there, he killed 1, and the spores were up. Meanwhile, the Lings here are not trading too inefficiently because he just has such a great ratio of them.
Yeah, he has way too many Lings for his opponent to handle, and he was able to just delay this expansion.
He had the Carapace upgrade for the Lings as well, so he's also able to fight him. Now he can actually fight these queens away from the Spore Crawlers.
Yeah, a bit of an oversight for Curious here, and he walks in with additional ones. Nice targeting, takes down a Phoenix.
This is actually a big problem. He's actually going to lose. He could actually lose on both of these. Does he have enough lifts? He does. Now he lifts it.
He needs to target, but
Curious so much better. He's attacking Overlords.
Yeah, but it's not only true for Mini, it's also true for his opponent. If Curious targets those Phoenixes, he could have taken down a lot of them already.
Now he's down to 1 queen. The Ling attack is going to be a big problem for him again. He doesn't have enough units. He's going to have to cancel.
The low ground is definitely a big problem for me. You're so right about it. He has to cancel his expansion again.
The Colossus is exposed as well. It's a huge mistake.
Oh my god. He actually will lose it. I don't think he can save it. He's trying to... No, this is not going to happen. This is a rare sight that you see Colossi being taken out by Zerglings.
He's sending the Phoenixes back home, but they're not going to be too useful against this many Lings. Right now, Mini is kind of trapped. He only has 1 Colossus, 5 Stalkers, and 4 Phoenixes. There's nothing to deal with these Lings. He needs more Zealots.
He needs a 3rd base, but it's so difficult for him to get it. The Stalkers are trapped. They don't get out of here. He loses every single Stalker and also the Sentry. 1 actually survives because Curious, for some reason, shows mercy. Yeah. Maybe it was Stalker's birthday, I don't know. Maybe
Curious is, you know, reconsidering his mindset entirely. He normally is the killer, but maybe he's like, you know what, this just isn't me. Either way, this Nexus is so cold.
And this time it actually dies. There was not even a cancel, yes? This is getting very tricky, and the thing is, the next step for Curious is in... Well, it just started. We have now the Spire. Well, yeah, the Spire, but I was actually talking about the Infestors walking across the map.
He's got the Infestors now to continue this pressure, and the Spire is the last nail in the coffin. He's just going to be able to make Corruptors and fight the Colossi. The Colossi are the only thing that makes Curious a little bit uncomfortable right now. This is a small victory, getting this Infestor.
And I feel it's too little too late, to be honest with you.
He actually is going for this again with just a few Lings. The Phoenix is trapped now.
He doesn't stop, does he? Every time the 3rd base is building, you have another round of units walking straight at it. And now this 4th base is being attacked by Zealots. Might be able... Nah, I don't think he's going to kill it, but still he knows at least that it's there. That's the most important part.
Knowing is half the battle, as they say. Curious up now, 50 supply. The first 8 Corruptors are started. This is what I was talking about. I mean, this is basically... Mini now has to win a fight, or the Corruptors will overwhelm him, and he will lose his 3rd base again, and Curious will actually start Hive Tech and end the game. There's very little that Mini can do on a map of this size. He has actually not played to the map. He said, I want to play a late game against Curious on a map that's really tough for that. And Curious said, well, I'm fine with that. I know exactly how to punish you. Third base is so far away from the natural.
It was also his unit control that did not excel in this game. His Phoenix control could have been better. He did not target well. He could have done more damage. And on the other hand, how he tried to get this third base was a little bit off. He never had units there guarding it. He was just trying to put the Nexus there and the cannon, but Curious was in a position where he could attack over and over again. But Mini kept trying. Even though he didn't have units there, he kept trying to go in. And now he's probably going to lose it again. With this many Infestors, we have 13 and 112 Zerglings. It looks like it's just going to be too much for him to handle. Even with the Colossal that he has, the Corruptors are moving in.
The Lings do disappear in a matter of seconds, but the Infested Terrans are going to be the next problem. The Corruptors going to work on the Colossi, but the Lings really were not able to fight too much. The Infested Terrans are doing a decent amount of damage, though, and many dropping in supply here now. The Infestors' control could be a little bit better. I think you should pull them back.
Yeah, but the Colossus control too, he didn't even try to save them. They were still standing inside the Infested Terranax, and now everything is just going to die. Well, at least, well, not everything, but a lot here. So he's down to 70 supply. A couple of Zerglings are in the main base, were able to run past his defenses, and now he lost 32 probes. This is just looking worse and worse.
More probes going down in the main base now as well. Mini, he doesn't have anything to fall back on. Yeah, the control for Curious could have been a little bit better. He's going to lose another few Infestors here on his retreat path, but this next wave of Lings alone may just end the game.
I think it actually will. Another Colossus dies, resources lost are in favor of Curious, and he is taking down so many units. He has 4 bases, he has the upgrades, he's getting more, he's now relying on Roachling.
The probe count is down to 4.
It's crazy.
He doesn't have an economy anymore. He's got some bank that will disappear in seconds. He can't even spend it because he's on cooldown on his warp gates. This third base is not long for this world. He's had to cancel it so many times, even missing a cancel on one of those times. Look at how many Lings this is. It's way too many.
Yeah, he's moving in. The Zerglings trying to catch the Stalkers, take them out. The rest of them is working at third base. This one Colossus is dealing damage, but not enough. There are way too many Zerglings. And the Roaches are now being built. Well, we have the next set of Infestors already at the scene. It's too much.
Good fungals here, trapping those units. The Nexus is targeted. More probes starting to fall. Mini is desperately trying to hold on. He's targeting down these Infestors. The Corruptors come in, and the next wave of units will actually just finish him off. He's got now on the map 26 Roaches.
He has 2 bases, and 2 bases against the Zerg, who's already on 4, who's maxed out in supply, is not enough. He doesn't have the spank that he needs. Taking down Overlords. Curious is just everywhere.
He may... he can't even get the space.
Not even
Curious decided not... Yeah, Curious decided not to sack it. He was like, well, I can turn around for just a second. That's fine. Look at that tiny mini army. It's a mini army. No joke. He's got +2 about to finish up. This is again a style we saw yesterday, where Pros players started to add that +2 armor into their upgrades rather than getting +3. But I just don't see him holding much longer. Look at the production tab. He's got nothing.
He didn't have enough sentries, you know? He never really used sentries in order to zone the army of the Zerg player out, and now there's the GG.
You know, the third base on this map is so hard for a Pros player to take. If you're going to take third base on this map, you better have a wall and sentries, and probably at least 1 cannon if you want to hold it. You just make a Nexus with no wall against someone like Curious, he's going to force a cancel every time. He didn't even attempt a wall. He made a Nexus next to a pylon, and Curious was like, well, I'll take that for free.
Did I miss his sentries? Were they killed at some point? I know that he lost
really
one with the first few Lings run in and surround these Stalkers, but he didn't build a lot of them, did he?
Yeah, he really didn't. He just was skimping on those. He went up to the Colossi really fast. He spent his gas on the Phoenixes and then the Colossi. Very few sentries to defend. And then his Colossi were not in position to defend the Nexus when they needed to be. Then they were out of position when there were more Lings, so he lost them.
You know, I'm a little bit disappointed. I expected a bit more from Mini after what we've seen against Naniwa and against Flash. So Curious takes a win here, and it was, I would say, a little bit one-sided. Mini was not able to apply the pressure that he dealt in the previous games. Against Naniwa, he looked so dominant. He took openings. Against Flash, it was the same. It was this back and forth battle between the 2 Casper players. But today, Curious just took charge of the game and dominated every single step of the match. Even when those Phoenixes with him, he had enough to defend. I feel as though that we have now on Cloud Kingdom a different Protoss player.
You know, everybody has off games, everybody has off days.
Exactly.
And, you know, the strategy he chose just certainly did not work out. Micro could have been better. Game number 2, we'll see if he can tie things up, or if Curious will jump back into Code S. This is the GSL Code A round number 3, cast by Calder and Wolf.